Too dark to see anything in the shaft. I better not push forward without knowing where I'm going. Oh my god. Oh shit! Greetings, critical viewers. We're here with Exmortis 2, with I, your fearless leader. I really enjoyed the first Exmortis, and this is the second one. Apparently they enjoy using papyrus font for their first screen. Some sounds used in this game were obtained from actual EVP recordings. Some images are taken from real haunted locations around Australia. Certain elements are from the original game. So, due to graphic content and profanity, this title is not recommended for children. If you haven't seen the first game, I uploaded a playthrough of it already, so check it out. Go ahead and play this one. Put my headphones on. Leffler Web Design presents more papyrus font. So, here we are, and this looks like a church. The sky has been stained blood red since the Exmortis started systematically eradicating mankind from the face of the earth. So this is a lot different from the first game. It seems to be a post-apocalyptic type of atmosphere. This door leads inside. I only hope that beyond its darkness, I will find some survivors of the battle with the Exmortis. This abandoned church was to be the Resistance rendezvous point after the final stand against the Exmortis. Okay. Got it. This definitely, there's no survivors here. Holy shit, there may be nothing left living left in here, but I am definitely not alone. It isn't of the Exmortis, though. I would be dead by now if it was. Those bloody footprints. That just opened. Whatever it was that just walked in, it entered this confessional booth, and doesn't seem to want to let me into this particular booth. This side of the booth is empty. Something or someone is clearly in the other booth. Okay. The priest's pulpit stands at the head of the church. A large Bible sits atop, open to chapter Revelations. End of days. How appropriate. The title of the chapter is actually just Revelation, but okay. The statue of Christ looks over the room which was once filled with his faithful followers. What I see now is all that is left of them. Alright, don't need to be... Don't need to say things like that. All the windows in this church look like they were boarded up a long time ago. To keep something out or to keep something in? Well, do you think to keep something out? Light pours into the church through a hole in the roof. Through it, I can see the crimson sky, which serves as a constant reminder of what has transpired. Okay, we all know what we have to do. Let's go to the other side of the booth. The window looks through to the other booth. Whoever is in the other booth is looking back at me. What could he want?
Mr. Hanning, please sit, for my time here is limited. I take it the battle didn't go as planned. An unfortunate inevitability, I'm afraid. Nevertheless, it has aided and allowed me the passage I required to make contact with you. The Exmortis know you're here, so I must be brief. All might seem lost to you in this dark hour, however, I am here to bring you hope when you have none. I have here with me a parchment which you will do well to read carefully. The knowledge within its pages will shed light on your path towards removing this scourge and allowing mortal man to begin rebuilding. I don't doubt that you are wondering if I am trustworthy or not. However, at this point, neither you nor the remaining fragments of humanity have anything left to forfeit. I'm afraid mankind's fate rests on your next course of action. For your sake, I hope you make the right choice.
Okay. Whatever was in the next booth, it wasn't human. However, everything he spoke of made sense. I guess I really don't have a choice but trust him for now. If I still had my faith, I guess I would pray to God for help right now. But I lost all hope when I found my wife and daughter disemboweled on my front lawn. Okay. If the Exmortis really do know that I am here, I should make a quick exit before they arrive. Each pew is covered in a thick layer of dust. There hasn't been a living thing in here for a very long time. Can I be the only survivor of the battle? Well, I would hope not. Okay. That's the booth I was just in. There's nothing left for me in there. This is the booth the thing was in. The door seems working now. Let's go in. pile of bound papers rests on the stool. This must be the parchment the entity implored I examine. A vile stench hangs in the air that was trapped by this enclosed booth. If I can't see that entity, at least next time I'll know I can smell him coming. Prophecy of the Hand. Now, this is something that references the last game. One night I dreamed. A darkness once dormant, patiently waiting, was now emerging from the shadows. A light growing brighter from beyond a dark chasm, wrapping around a pillar stained with ancient symbols. Many millions of shrieks and screams engulfed me where I stood until I felt the burn rise up from the floor and it too consumed me. My soul, ripped from my shell, was flattened and became a pathway. It became a link between the ancient world and my reality. Unspeakable monstrosities crossed over and began devouring every living thing. And then a fiend of unspeakable size and malevolence looked at me and smiled as he crossed into my world. He introduced himself as the Ancient of the Exmortis, Vlael. Alright. Well, that's the Prophecy of the Hand. Oh, we're not done yet. I could see myself, a tattered, broken man, suddenly imbued with an insatiable power. I felt a sudden drive to destroy all that I knew, and return it all to how it used to be before light and life. I saw myself become the Hand of Exmortis. I saw what was, what is, and what will be. I then saw a strange dagger plunge deep into me, a man holding it, a mere mortal, and something else in the shadows. But then the darkness took me as I fell to my knees and the pathway crumbled, my soul lost forever. I don't dare to dream again for fear of what other horrors await. Property of Lockyer Fields Ranch. Lockyer Fields Ranch. Okay. So we're done with that. This is the booth of the parchment. This door leads back outside to the rear of the church. So, I'm not sure what else we can click on in here. The bloody footsteps of whatever I spoke to in the confessional booth stains the aisle of the church. Let's go to this door over here. So we're outside now. The tracks on the ground indicates that this old rust bucket of a car still works. As old as it is, I will still need a key to start. I wish I knew how to hotwire this thing. This door leads back into the church. Seems to have locked behind me. Besides, from the look of those approaching clouds, I should be leaving very quickly. Oh, God. Houses on top of the hill have probably been abandoned long ago, or they're filled with corpses, just like I'll be if I don't get as far away from here as possible. Okay. Oh. What am I doing? Oh, shit. I'm not sure what to do. Yeah, shit. I don't know what. I thought I had time to. Well, this is different from the first game. So what am I... What else do I have to do in here? What the hell am I doing back in here? I must have lost my head for a moment. I better get this parchment and get the fuck out of here. What's this? A coat hanger? Okay, so see, there's shit going on. Got it. What am I supposed to... What do I use? Oh my god. How do I... Success if I got the key. What? Where was the key? I was just clicking. I was clicking around and I picked up the key. Wow. Xavier's legacy. Xavier's from the first game. No ominous fast approaching clouds. It seems I managed to outrun the Exmortis. I'm sure they won't take them too long to find me here again, though. Phew. This is the Lockyer Fields Ranch the document from the church led me to. What possible significance could this place have in the scheme of things? The door leads inside. I don't know what waits for me inside or what I'm even looking for. I've got a feeling I want to wait long to find out. Alright, so that fell. This door is somewhat dissimilar to the one on my right, but it seems to be in working order. This double set of doors leads to an adjacent hall. My take on the place from outside is correct. Alright. It's being blocked from the other side by something. The panel for this crawl space has been pulled off and propped against the corridor wall. Strange. Let's not go into the crawl space just yet. The door on the right of the corridor leads to another room. Oh! Fuck, that poor bastard has his eyes, arms, legs, and heart ripped from him. Only the Exmortis are capable of this kind of cruelty. I feel like... Okay. From the looks of the blood splatter on this chair, I assume that this poor soul was strung up before he was mutilated. I wondered to myself, what is more ghastly? The sight of this poor soul hanging here or the crimson sky I can see through the window? Are you kidding me? The sight of the poor soul! Is that even a question? What's more ghastly, a corpse or a pink sky? Are you kidding me? This lamp used to serve a purpose, but now it is nothing but a mere reminder of a life and a luxury that I once had. You're a glass half empty guy, aren't you? One of those Sudoku puzzles sits on the table here. They used to be all the rage, but I never really got hooked. 300 squares of the puzzles are highlighted. Okay, I'm pretty good at Sudoku. 1, 3, 8. Oh wait, is that right? Enter. That's it. What'd that do? That's correct. Yeah. That was easy. So what did that do? Okay. I don't know what that did. The beam in the center of the room that the man hangs from doesn't even seem to be bowing slightly from the weight of his lifeless torso. Well, is there anything else to do in here besides the Sudoku puzzle, which for some reason it doesn't seem to do anything when I solved it? Okay. Alright. The old portrait still hangs on the wall here. Seems to be a very old portrait of a man and a small girl. Perhaps a previous occupant of this place. Well, it fell down earlier. The stairs lead up to the second level. They're not really covered in too much dust, so it seems the place may only have recently been occupied. An assortment of children's clothes, coats, and jumpers hang in this closet. As much as I need a fresh set of clothes that aren't covered in blood, I doubt anything here fits me. Toolbox, small padlock. Oh my god, is it the Sudoku? Are you kidding me? This assortment of tools, I see nothing of immediate use in here. Well, what's the point? On the top shelf here sits a small pile of knitted woolen blankets. I welcome the smell of mothballs over the scent of rotting flesh that seems to infect everything these days. That's nice. Oh my god. What? Clearly there's some kind of entity in this house that doesn't agree with my presence here. Nevertheless, this door just doesn't want to budge open. Okay. Oh my god, the sheets on this bed are soaked with the blood of this poor woman. Oh! Oh! I didn't realize the naked female corpse on the bed here has a massive hole in her chest. Okay. Large splatter of gore seems to have hit the wall. Okay. Pictures of local structures hanging on the wall here. Got it. Lampshades on both sides of the bed are stained with blood. Okay. So, bedside table is a small drawer here. All it contains is a Bible. I'd take it with me if I were still a religious man. Of course, we've got to play that aspect. The bedside table has a small cupboard here. A slightly worn and tattered diary. I love reading these. This was like my favorite part of the first game, was reading these little diaries. They're creepy and they're well written. 28th January. Well, I got digging around in the dusty old cellar today, and I came across a whole heap of old leather-bound books with each and every page blank. So I thought to myself that I might as well put one of them to good use. I guess I got myself a new diary to use. It is quite remarkable how good the condition the books are in, considering how old they look. It continually surprises me the amount of handy items I find in this place. I know this place has been under the care of my relatives for over 100 years, but you would think that in that time someone would have taken the time to go through all the old crap from the previous occupants of this place. In any case, the unpacking process is almost complete. It still seems a little weird that my wife, kids, and I are now living in old Uncle Charlie's ranch. It's been years since I've last set foot in this place before he passed on. Charlie and I never really got on so well, so it was certainly a surprise to find out that he left this place to me in his will. I wonder what he meant by, only you can understand the ranch, and if you can at first, you will learn to. Certainly seems like a last little cryptic jab at me from beyond the grave. Anna is settling in okay. I had to do a hell of a lot of talking her around in to moving away from the city. That's an oddly structured sentence. An oddly sentenced structure. She wasn't going to go without a fight, but I think she's finally happy that she broke away from her dead-end job and is kind of looking forward to the simpler life here out here in the sticks. Oh wait, I think I accidentally... Okay. The kids are always keen for change, so it didn't take much coercion to make them see this as a fresh new start. I think the thought of having horses, cows, and chickens to look after made them forget that they will be rooming together here for the first few weeks until I can get the rooms at the end of the hall emptied out, cleaned, and converted to top-quality living quarters. Well, I've got a lot of work ahead of me in the next few months, but I feel good. This was a good choice, a welcome change. I just hope Anna relaxes into her new home. 30th of January. I got a fair amount of work done today. I finally finished the fencing around the southern field, but the oddest thing happened as I was finishing up. I had a strange compulsion to look back at the house, and I could have sworn that I saw someone watching me from beyond the window in the room at the end of the hall. Anna and the kids were out running some errands, so that is why I make note of this as being odd. I just put it down as my eyes playing tricks on me. A full day of hard work under the hot sun can play tricks with your mind. Anna still seems a little standoffish about the move. She is not 100% convinced that we are making the right move here. I told her to give it some time and that it will... Oh my god, I did it again. Sorry. I told her to give it some time and that it will grow on her. Still, her stressful attitude is rubbing off on me. I snapped at Zoe today, which is very unlike me. She ran off to her room crying, and I went up to apologize and explain that Daddy is a bit stressed with the move. She really didn't warrant my anger, and I felt bad about it for a while. She was all smiles after our little talk. The 6-year-old's mind is an enigma to me sometimes. 3rd of February. It's been a strange few days. We had an old picture of a man and a girl hanging up near the front door. I don't know who they are or what purpose Uncle Charlie had with such an old portrait in the house lobby, but I felt it was time for something a little more modern. I took down the portrait and mounted the family photo we had taken this past Christmas. I threw that old portrait in the cellar with all the other old junk I need to sort through and turned in for the night. I got up in the morning to walk to the kitchen and found that old portrait hanging up in the exact same spot which I had removed it, but no sign of the family photo I'd replaced it with. I did a bit of searching around the place without any luck, so I asked Anna and the kids about it, and they claimed that they knew nothing about it. But what really angered me out was when I went down to the cellar, I found the photo with its frame all smashed up on the floor. I immediately brought it to everyone's attention, but still no one admitted to the deed. I must admit that I flew off the handle a bit, and once again Zoe and Daniel both ran sobbing to their rooms again. Such disregard for my authority in this house will not be tolerated. I shouted at them as their little legs bolted up the stairs. Claire just sat in the living room glued to the damn idiot box TV. Kids. I replaced the frame for the Christmas photo and remounted it on the wall in the lobby, once again discarding the old portrait to the cellar. But this time I locked the damn door and strung the key around my neck for safekeeping. This person's angry, damn. It's the darndest thing! The next morning I got up to find the old portrait back on the wall, and once again the Christmas photo was back in the cellar all smashed up. How is that possible? There are no extra keys cut for that door, and there sure as heck ain't a skeleton key for this place that I know of. I don't have any remaining spare frames, so I guess the old portrait stays where it is for now. I swear, sometimes I think I'm losing my mind. 12th of February. The local sheriff dropped by today, asking questions about if we had seen anything unusual and if we had seen any suspicious-looking people out of character for the area. I told him that we hadn't. When I asked him what was wrong, he let slip that in a neighboring settlement a whole bunch of people were found dead. Ripped to shred by some frenzied assailants, were his exact words. Aw, fuck. I moved my family out here to get away from that kind of shit. 14th of February. Valentine's Day. I found a clipping in the local paper about the murders in San Raimi. Oh, that's a reference to Sam Raimi, the director of Spider-Man, but he also directed some horror movies. Like, I want to say he directed Cabin Fever. That's wrong, though. 28 people dead. That's virtually the whole town. And demons from hell? What the fuck? They're either smoking some good crack over there, or the local God-fearing community has an overactive imagination. I finally got the energy and time to clear out the old desk and books from the room at the end of the hall, but I just couldn't get the door to budge open. Man, I'm really stumbling over my words in this video. Sorry about that. The handle would turn, but no matter how hard I pushed at it, it just wouldn't work. I got tired of fighting a losing battle, so I put off the clean out of the room until later. I did manage to get the other room cleaned out and kitted up with Claire's bed and furniture, so she'll be spending the night in her own room for the first time in this house tonight. Daniel and Zoe are still sharing the same bed, but hell, at 6 and 8 years old, it's not like there's going to be enough room in that same mattress for both of them. And in another, for first in this house, Anna and I made love this morning. Okay, thank you. What? I think she is finally coming around about the move. Although I do think about the murders in San Raimi have left her shaken a little. Too close to home, I think. And the thought of men, women, and children being mutilated like that chills me to the bone. People can be fucking animals sometimes. Yes, that's called bestiality. Did you get my joke? 15th of February. I woke up last night with a fright. Standing over Anna and I in our bedroom was Claire. She said that she couldn't sleep. That a man kept sitting on the end of her bed looking out of the window. I told her that she was just dreaming. Damn it, she's 11 years old and should be able to differentiate between fantasy and reality by now. I walked her back to bed, tucked her in, and sang her back to sleep. I was still half asleep at the time, but I could have sworn that the stuck door at the end of the hall was open just a crack on the way to Claire's room. It didn't occur to me at the time to check on it again. All I wanted to do was go back to bed. Damn, this is long. 18th February. More murders. Local news broadcasts mentioned that more people were mysteriously killed. Now a town further away had been hit and virtually wiped out just as San Raimi had. What is going on in this world for shit like this to happen? Out here in all places. I didn't mention anything to Anna about the new lot of murders. There's no use in making her any jitterier than she already is. Besides, now she's finally relaxed a little. We are getting some sort of semblance of normality back into our sex lives. Oh my god, this again. If anything, she'll become a little more energetic and enthusiastic than she has ever been when it comes to that. Wow. Claire is still having problems sleeping. She keeps talking of a man sitting on her bed and looking out to the back through her window. Anna and I are taking turns at babying her back to sleep each night. Anna is sure that with time she'll get used to her room and won't be an issue for much longer. I certainly hope she's right. I could do with an uninterrupted sleep for the first time in a while, especially with the amount of work I am doing during the day on the ranch. I need as much sleep as I can get to save my energy for dealing with the damn horses. They seem very spooked of late, a pattern of stubbornness that I can do without. 23rd February. The sunset was amazing today. It was the most beautiful pinkish red sky that I've ever seen. Anna and I sat on the front doorstep and toasted it with a couple of glasses of Chardonnay. Simply stunning. Yeah, well, wait till you find out what the sunset is. 24th of February. That damn door just won't move. I've tried oiling it, removing the latching, chiseling the frame, and even kicking the fucking thing down. I'm getting over it very quickly. I'm this close to scaling the outside wall to break a window to climb in. Claire has taken a turn for the worse. Even though she's not complaining about her mysterious man on the bed, she has basically shut down. The most conversation I can get out of her is an occasional grunt, and she spends most of the day sitting in front of the television when she's not in school. She always looks so tired and unwell. If this continues for much longer, I'm going to have to take her to see a doctor. 26th of February. New hunter. 500 dead. This is very concerning. These murders are not slowing up. If anything, they are increasing at an exponential rate. Police have no further information other than that the assailants possibly being some sort of satanic cult. It all sounds rather vague to me. I know it's selfish of me, but the only positive thing to come from this is that the spree of murders seems to be moving away from us here. But I know that doesn't make us safe. I cut the clipping out of the newspaper and put it in with the other I had from the original San Raimi killings. I don't know why I have this morbid fascination with these recent events. Maybe because it's so close to home. Something else that I've noticed of recently is that the daytime sky isn't as blue as it used to be. Almost purple in appearance at times. The sunsets of late are amazing though, but I'm starting to miss the familiar blue hue of the daytime sky. 2nd of March. I spoke to Claire today and got a semi-coherent response from her. It's the first sustainable conversation that I've had with her in quite a while. Anna noticed that her bed seemed undisturbed last night, almost as if she didn't sleep in it. Anna convinced me to buy a gun today. I am definitely not a gun person, which seems odd considering that I'm running a virtual farm here. But for the protection of my family against these marauding killers, it seemed the only sane thing to do. I've heard numerous rumors about the killings that have been happening. People eviscerated and ripped limb from limb in their own house, out on the street, in backyards, wherever they happened to be when attacked. I even heard that the attack that left Palo Alto completely depopulated had the town literally painted in blood. Completely depopulated? Oh my god. I cannot even begin to imagine how this could happen, and I am even more surprised when the apparent complete lack of federal government response. No one can go within 10 miles of New Hunter without getting turned away by local law enforcement, so there's definitely some sort of investigation happening. 5th of March. I woke up very early this morning because I thought I heard a noise coming from the end of the hall. I picked up the gun and cautiously stalked in from room to room, checking on everyone. Daniel and Zoe were fast asleep, but imagine my surprise when I got to Claire's room. She wasn't asleep in her bed. In fact, she was wide awake, sitting on the corner of her bed, just looking out of the window to the back field. I approached her and put my hand on her head, which was soaked with an ice-cold sweat. She jumped, startled with my presence, and let out a shrill, high-pitched scream unlike anything I had ever heard before. All she could do was cowl away from me against the wall and scream as loud as a banshee. The commotion woke everyone up, and soon I had Anna sprinting to my side in a dazed and frightened state. It took about 15 minutes to snap Claire out of whatever episode she had been having and return to her normal state. There was a startling moment when I could have sworn I saw a reflection in the glass of her window of someone moving behind me in the shadows. There just isn't something right about that room. We hustled Claire into Daniel and Zoe's room where she spent the rest of the morning sleeping. Anna and I both decided that we would move Claire's belongings out of that room and let her sleep with her siblings indefinitely. It would be tight and stuffy for them, but Claire seemed more than happy to hear the news of the move. 11th of March. The news has just come in. Los Angeles and San Francisco are under siege from those marauding killers. I'm speechless as I write this. Everyone has been huddled around the TV downstairs for hours watching report after report of the events. It is being reported that there are thousands of people dead in just a space of a few hours. Anna has been trying to call her family in LA with no success. All lines of communication into the city seem to be down. I pray to God that they are okay. Information on their well-being is scarce, so all we have to go on at the moment is what we see on TV. The broadcasts are apparently under restrictions as to the content they could show due to the graphic nature of the images and the government stepping in and blocking certain footage. But the description of some of these creatures is more than frightening. They are not human, we are being told. I went down to the local mall and bought a corkboard, which I've set up in Claire's old bedroom. I've started clipping articles and pinning them up there. I still remain morbidly fascinated by these events. More frightened than fascinated, I suppose, but to know thy enemy is the first step to defeating thy enemy. Well, that's what I've been saying to Anna to justify my new hobby. 12th of March. LA is a graveyard and San Francisco isn't much better off at the moment. Millions of lives lost. The president made a statement today, but it was all rhetoric about defending our way of life and making sure justice would be served. Just another way of saying that they are as scared and clueless on a course of action as we are. The military has been engaging these creatures for most of the day. From reports I've seen, we aren't faring so well. The casualty rate is ridiculously high, but all military press conferences I've seen have been of a positive nature. Hopefully this isn't the war propaganda machine is turning. Oh, sorry. Anna received word that her brother Joe got out alive, but doesn't look good for the rest of her family. Her parents were smack bang in the middle of LA, so even if they managed to start the exodus of the city, these creatures would have been on them in no time. This is insane. Am I dreaming? 16th of March. We nuked them. I can't fucking believe it. We actually dropped a nuke on them, on our own soil, over residential land on the upper Pacific coast, after only 1 day of engaging the enemy. It's too early to know if it was effective, but just the realization of how completely worst case scenario that this must be for this sort of action to be taken, well, it just boggles the mind. Anna's brother Joe is driving here. He's going to stay with us for a while. I'm going to set him up in Claire's old room. Hopefully he won't... Yeah, God, that's a terrible idea! Okay. Hopefully he won't suffer the same adverse effects that she bore from that strange filling room. But at this stage, considering what is happening, that room is the least of our worries. 17th of March. Well, we've just been advised that the nuke has not stemmed the flow of violence. In fact, I think the words that were used were completely ineffectual. We're being told that these things, which are being referred to as Exmortis, have virtually wiped out most of our towns, villages, and cities along the Pacific coast and are heading north up into Canada and back east to our other coasts. Oh no, poor Canada. I'm just kidding. We have been lucky in that these things started off around this area somewhere. People have been saying that Exmortis numbers when they initially hit San Remi were minute compared to the millions they now consist of. We were spared, but it won't be long before we see them coming back this way again. Oh Lord, please let us find a way of stopping these things before it comes to that. Joe arrived today. All he had was the clothes on his back and the car he came in. The stories he had to tell us were just dreadful. Even he only managed to escape the maelstrom. Apparently he got a frantic, garbled phone call from his and Anna's fathers telling him to get out of the city immediately with no questions asked. He did exactly that, but he never heard from his parents again. All he could say was that his father sounded more scared than he had ever heard. He could hear his mother sobbing and praying in the background all through the call. Joe must have choked out the words through tears at least a dozen times. At least they were together in the end. Anna has taken this all remarkably well. She was shuffling around the cellar this morning and emerged with an old Bible. She's never really been a big religious nut, but when I caught her sneaking it into the bedside table drawer, she told me that having it close makes her feel better. I love her so much. 18th of March. Something has Joe scared more than he was when he arrived. He won't talk about it, but he's adamant that he doesn't want to sleep in Claire's old room again. I've noticed that he's sporting some pretty vicious bruises on his face, arms, and ribs, which weren't there yesterday. When I asked him about it, he'd either change subject, ignore the line of questioning, or just pretend he didn't hear and go off on tangents. We've relocated him to the living room as a temporary arrangement for now. 28th of March. It's official. Washington has fallen, and Air Force One failed to make it off the tarmac before it was set upon. What hope is there left for us? Our military is all but wiped out. Everything we've thrown at them has failed. And now reports of Japan and China coming under siege. The mood here in the house is quite melancholy. It's almost like we've given up any hope of avoiding the apparently inevitable fate set before us. We've been told at the current rate of advancement, and if the Exmortis follow an assumed course sweeping down the east coast, and then back across west towards us, we only have another 3 weeks, tops. Where are these things coming from? How did they grow in such a mammoth numbers in such a short time? But the $1 million what the fuck questions are, who are they and why are they doing this? I'm afraid that we won't live long enough to find the answers. 31st of March. New York has fallen. Millions upon millions more dead. The front on the east coast seems to be following the unexpected pattern at the moment, heading south down the coast while spreading the umbrella further west every day. I try to continue collecting as many news articles as possible. Press productions are particularly hard to come by at the moment, but we still have a steady trickle of information coming in, even if nearly all avenues of delivering it are stemmed. TV is down to only a couple of local channels. Suffice to say, the word programming doesn't exist anymore. It's just a constant barrage of news and images of the rampages across the world. 14th of April. Wow, 2 weeks later. I still keep track of what's happening in other countries as much as possible, but as I mentioned previously, information is getting much harder to come by as more and more countries are overrun. I've heard that we have earned some sort of a reprieve here. Apparently a major majority of the Exmortis have broken off and are headed south to swarm over the South American countries. As much as that takes some of the pressure off of us here, there's still a smaller surge of creatures doubling back this way, probably to finish off the smaller communities. We remain on high alert, staying within close proximity to each other at all times. Anna is the last remaining optimist among us. I would have lost my mind a few weeks ago if it wasn't for positive influence. With every day that passes, they get closer and I can feel my sanity slipping just a little bit more. 18th of April. Electricity went out today. At least we had the forethought to stock up on batteries for the few essential items like flashlights. 23rd of April. Anna spent most of today clearing out a lot of junk from the cellar to try and make it into a makeshift bomb shelter. A few creatures have been spotted dashing across the open country only 50 miles from here, so while we are now in harm's way, the Exmortis must have been spread pretty thin in our locality. Anna is of the opinion that if they aren't in such great numbers around here, we might stand a chance if we hole up in the cellar. I'm not so sure myself, but it is definitely a better option than just standing out in the open waiting to be slaughtered. Most of the local properties have purchased portable CB radios and air horns to alert neighbors of incursions. 29th of April. People are getting jitterier by the day, it seems. That's a weird word to say. It's the second time he's used it, too. There was a false alarm today at the Jackson house. As soon as we heard the air horn, we frantically rounded up the kids and huddled into the cellar, only to hear Bob's sheepish apology radioed across on the CB. Dog. It was just a dog. I haven't laughed that hard in ages. In fact, I haven't laughed at all in ages. Poor old Bob Jackson was probably getting an earful from his wife. I'd hate to have been in his shoes today. 12th of May. The Colbys are dead. They didn't even have time to get to their shelter. After a few hours of waiting anxiously in our cellar after the alarm, we broke radio silence to check on everyone's welfare. The Colbys were the only ones that didn't answer. Joe, Bob, and I geared up and drove up to the Colby's house, and nothing could have prepared for me for what we saw. Greg, Karen, and his kids were just torn to shreds. Karen's torso was strung up from the tree out the back, and her legs were just a mutilated mess at the foot of the stump. We found bits of Greg scattered around his back porch, and the kids... Oh God, the kids. The suffering they would have been subjected to. I'm dry-retching as I write this. No one deserves to go through that. Is this what we can expect? Will my own children, my own flesh and blood, end up the same way that the Colbys did? What kind of fate is that? Seeing this level of inhumanity firsthand has affected me more than anyone will ever know. 23rd of May. Since the Colbys, things have been pretty quiet. Our provisions have started to get fairly scarce this last few days. I don't know how much longer we are going to be able to hold out for. 28th of May. As much as I hated doing it for so many reasons, Joe and I had to return to the Colby house and raid their supplies. We managed to scavenge enough provisions to keep us going for another few weeks at least, but beyond that, I am unsure what we will do. 9th of June. It's almost been a month since the last alarm was sounded, but Joe claims to have heard some rather worrying news. This could all be hearsay, but he was told that this is purely the calm before the storm. Joe was told that further inland, a rather large horde of creatures has been slowly heading westwards. Over the past few nights, I have noticed a distant buildup of strange clouds just hanging on to the edge of the horizon. I fear that we don't have much time left. 13th of June. Nowhere to run and hide this time. The clouds on the eastern horizon have been getting larger since my last entry. The buildup of creatures around that direction must be massive. The distant sound of thunder now permanently hangs in the air. I don't think hiding in the cellar is going to work around this time around. The Exmortis are in a final sweep, and I don't think they will leave any stone unturned. No time left, no hope. I can't stop thinking about the Colby family. Their faces twisted in painful screams as they were ripped to shreds. To make matters worse, our food supplies have just run out. Joe has offered to make a mad overnight dash to the old town center to raid some of the shops. I told him it was pointless. At this rate, those clouds are approaching. They will be on us before you can get back in time. Food means nothing if you're not alive to enjoy it. But he went anyway. Joe, you fool. You will never get back in time. And that's the end. Wow. Phew, that was long. And so I'm guessing this is Anna? Jeez. Most of the roofing here seems rather water damaged, however there's a section which appears to be ripped off rather violently. Scuffed up door to the left is a particularly pungent odor seeping out from the crack between it and the floor. Children, no matter how many times... Oh. I bear witness to such inhumanities, I just can't get used to it. The Exmortis must have swept through here recently. A Zippo lighter. We'll take that. Wow. The old mattress looks like it's been in this room for years. It currently serves as a rather pointless cushion for these poor souls in front of me. So this is, these are the three children that he was writing about. Claire and Zoe and Daniel. Okay. We've got a couple more doors. Rather large wet patch on the floor at the entrance of this particular room. The source can probably be found behind this door. Oh my god. Fair amount of blood on the floor here. Whoever belongs to it was probably dragged to the bathtub from the looks of it. The toilet is splattered with a small amount of blood. There's no point in opening the lid. What do I expect to find there other than the obvious? So you flush it? Alright. Seems the water supply of this place is still functional. This tap seems to be working just fine. A set of pull-down blinds hangs in front of these windows. Whatever all that blood is coming from is behind this shower curtain. The bath is stained with blood of a recent kill. But whoever's blood this is no longer in the tub. Okay. Well. Alright. There's another door on the far end of the left wall of this corridor. Ooh. The blood of the little girl stains the wall and floor here. She didn't even see it coming. I can still feel her melancholy presence in this room. It's a corkboard hanging on the wall here. It's covered in newspaper clippings of recent events. Probably right up until the press has stopped running, at least. No hope. There's a key hanging from the pin. We'll take the key. Wow. America at war. Nukes failed to stop Exmortis. Bloodbath. Japan and China demolished. Oh my god. This guy typed up all these stories? Wow. Okay. Phew. Okay, so we got a key. Door does not budge. Alright, so how do we get out of here? Stairs lead back down to the lobby. I guess let's go to the crawl space. Too dark to see anything in the shaft. I better not push forward without knowing where I'm going. Oh my god. Oh shit!
I've tasted your soul. It is a beacon of light in a time of such darkness. Your presence is just my space to return to you. My name is Savior. In reference to my word.
It is tight and extremely claustrophobic in the shaft. It appears to be some kind of air conditioning or airflow duct. Light streams in the crawl space through the vent. Beyond its haze lies another room, but I can't seem to make anything out from here. The vent is fastened to the wall too tightly to remove the screws with my fingers. Well, maybe you should get the tools from the toolbox. See? Tools. Screwdriver. Take the screwdriver. Seriously. Check this out. Come on. Thank God. The body of a man is slumped over the table. From here it looks like a self-inflicted gun wound did the damage. A bloody gun lies on the table next to this corpse. It appears to be the weapon he used to take his own life. The gun is loaded with 5 bullets. Let's take it. Okay. Jeez. It's just the kitchen sink. There's nothing special in it from the looks of it. Well, okay. Open any of these drawers. The door leads outside into the back of this place. Things probably won't be any safer outside than it is in here. Well, we've got a gun, and a key, and a lighter, and a screwdriver. Okay, so I guess go out here. One hell of a horde of creatures must have torn this place up in a frenzy recently. The door to the cellar is currently closed. This key I have fits perfectly into its lock. Oh my god, the darkness of the cellar sends a chill up my spine. There's a set of stairs that lead down into the shadows. God. A pile of old and tattered books sits both on the floor and on the table on my right. There's nothing much of interest here from a quick glance through their spines. Battery-powered CB radio. Power. Okay. Oh. Okay. Okay, I don't want to hear that. How about that? Another stack of books. A lot of these are old but blank and bound by leather. These books look much older than the ones scattered around this room. Wait, quite a few of these are authored by a familiar name. Xavier Raham. Vitus Hostilis Exmortis. 1902. That's 12 years later than the one that he wrote in the last one. You guys ready for story time again? Okay. My dear reader, many years have passed since I cast my thoughts to the memories of my demons, for my story is one of captive torment, years of tortured labor to stay one step ahead of the constant threat of lunacy. Indeed, I pain to recall the torment endured for those years around the end of my young daughter Gwen's life, for she was lost to my blade, and it pains me deeply, however, as much as my hand was forced by them, my captors, yes, the demons that haunted my house, the possession of my poor daughter. They turned her into a puppet, held her soul for ransom in return for the translation of the text titled The Book of Exmortis. Of course I did as they wanted. However, I fear that such work will come with dire consequences. If not for I, then certainly for mankind. When they returned her to me for a mere minute, only to take her away from me again, I realized that Gwen was gone and never to return. I suppose in a way I wasn't killing my daughter. I was killing the demons that took hold of her. I digress. My purpose for penning this text is not to alleviate the pain memories I carry with me, nor is it to gain unwarranted sympathy for my eternal plight. I ultimately utilize this medium to serve a dire warning to whatever years of humanity we as a species have left on this earth. An unspeakable evil resides in the hills, not half a day's trek from my current abode here in Lockyer Fields. I have witnessed first hand the cruelty of the entities I have come to know as the Exmortis. I can only further elaborate on this threat these beings pose upon humanity once I have summarized the nature of the beast. To understand the history of one's enemy is to be one step closer to salvation. The following is a summation of the Book of Exmortis. Okay, we've actually already read this. It was in the first one. Yeah, it's... right. The Book of Exmortis in its original Aramaic went on to detail the further ritualistic orientation of the link between our world and the spiritual plane, described quite frequently as the ancient land. I dare not to put pen to paper again for the reproduction of the incantation of the hand for fear of my tainted soul. Following the tragedy that was my daughter Gwen, I was felt compelled to continue my work looking for an answer to this evil. I spent day after day translating more and more ancient occult texts pertaining to the dark arts which surround these entities. For years I worked through each book of the archaic collection until I came across a precious find. Imagine my surprise when I located a text which could lead to the downfall of the dominion of Exmortis. It was a text that I dared not translate whilst in the captivity of that isolated abode for fear of exposing to them my knowledge of the script titled Vetus Adversarius, translated The Ancient Adversary. Over time, I worked to shake their attention. When finally I broke free, I fled the wilderness and returned to civilization, eventually relocating here to a beautiful Lockyer Fields homestead. It was here that I began to unravel the work I was forced to complete for the demonic Exmortis. I had managed to escape with the one text that could aid in my pursuit to right the wrong that I had been an integral part of. Within the pages of the Vetus Adversarius, I had discovered a great many things. Most important of all is that the source of the demon's power was also their weakness. The man who will become the hand. His soul is the path between the spirit world and our world. Sever the hand, and the link is broken. From Vetus Adversarius. The door was unlocked by the blood of 5, protected by fiends, once dead, now alive. Circled by blood from the dark ancient rite, the mortal man makes the ultimate sacrifice. A weapon of fire takes a fifth for his own, creating a path to where the dark spirits roam. His soul will pass through the ethereal gate. Beyond it lies his God-given fate. A dagger of faith shall sever the hand, mortally pierced by the soul-bearing man. The light of the path cut off from the land, reducing the scorch to fire, ash, and sand. For many years I have studied this passage from every possible angle. I have noted that the blood of 5 is once again prominent in creating the link between our physical world and the spirit realm. But what of this mortal man's ultimate sacrifice? What of this dagger that the passage speaks of? And who is this man that the script references? I cannot answer these questions, but I am certain all will become clear when the time is right. All I can do is make available the tools required for our Savior to rid the land of this plague when it inevitably comes to be. I know now that this is my purpose in what little years of life I have remaining. Now more than ever, I believe that within our faith we will find the answer. So now I got the Circle of Life, which was also in the first game. Okay. And it has the same... It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Phew. Okay. Thanks a lot. Hot water tank and a gas cylinder sits at the far end of the cellar. Unfortunately, a warm shower is out of the question as both units are no longer functional. Okay, so is there anything else to do in here? I can't find anything, so we'll leave now. Oh shit, the Exmortis are getting closer. Don't much time. What? This plank propped across the door would explain why I couldn't get the room from the hallway. Okay, so... Okay, so I don't do anything in here. Great. I guess there's nothing left to do but go up here. Wasn't there something else here? Tired diary. Suspicious looking Bible inside. With this dagger, sever the link and the demon horde will fall. Within your faith lies the answer. Strange looking dagger. It all makes sense now. Except not really, but okay. Alright. Oh, shit.
Come, quickly, or we don't have much time.
What? Fall him quickly? Oh, that's...
Sacrifice.
Wait, what? A wooden chair sits in the middle of the ceremonial circle. I guess I'm supposed to sit here. What am I supposed to do? What is the sacrifice I have to make? What? Dry blood stains the floor in a circular pattern around the chair. Strange symbols sit at equidistant points around the circle. This must be the portal. What? Sacrifice is written in blood on the wall. What does the sacrifice have to make? I don't have much time to figure it out. What? What? Weapon of fire. This gun is taking 4 innocent lives. Oh fuck, I have to take my own life with this gun to open the portal. That's the ultimate sacrifice. I'm the 5th innocent. What? Dominion. What's going on? Where am I? This is amazing. Never could have imagined that a world such as this existed. There's just empty space as far as the eye can see. I can't imagine spending eternity here. Strange beacon drifting in the distance. These buoys need to be powered up and linked together before I can move onwards. Okay. Well, appears to be some kind of beacon floating in the strange netherworld. There is a familiar looking ring of symbols orbiting around its axis. What? So... I'm confused as to what happened. Wait, what? What did I just do? What? What? Really confused. Ah, what happened? I don't understand. I don't know what's going on. Ah. Oh my god, I have no idea. What? We're close. happened? Fuck me, what a trip. I don't know where I am, but I've somehow regained my physical form. The hair on my neck is standing on end. This place feels inherently evil. Box half full with bullets. Come on. Reload. The tunnel behind me appears to have been recently fallen victim to a cave-in. My only way out of here is to push ahead through this archway. A long dead corpse is slumped up against the wall. Empty shell casings rest in his lap. Must have been one hell of a last stand. What a way to go. Oh my god. What? Oh shit! What's going on? Oh. Gotta be the hand of the Exmortis. All I have to do now is use this dagger and this will all be over, I hope. This tunnel had been bathed in numerous degrees of blood and gore. Human remains are scattered throughout the tunnel on both sides. I don't know how they got here, but it must have been one hell of a slaughter. The tunnel seems to stretch on forever into the darkness. But I have nothing left to fear. I finished what I came here to do, and now I venture onwards into the unknown. Another tunnel. I have no idea where I am, and no way of telling how long this tunnel system goes for. A set of cement rock steps leads upward over the crest. I feel a very faint breeze against my skin. I must be on the right path to getting out of wherever here is. Okay. Very faint trace of light creeps over the crest here. Finally found the exit, but a familiar figure blocks the doorway. Suddenly it occurs to me that this is the entity I spoke to in the church. I've got so many questions for him.
Oh, Mr. Hannay. How good it is to see you again. Congratulations are definitely in order. You have accomplished something the combined forces of humanity could not. I must admit, when we last met in the church, I was unsure if you were the right person for the job. However,
am I the hand?
My faith in you wasn't misplaced after all. Your actions have paved the way for a prosperous new age. Which reminds me, I must also remember to thank Xavier for his role in this. How is he, anyway? Still moaning about losing his little whore of a daughter? You soul-bearers. So complicated. Yet, once again I find myself surprised in the ease at which your kind can be manipulated. Much easier than my former brethren within the Exmortis. Why the look of surprise? Surely you must have had some suspicions that I, Lord Blay, was the one who set you upon this path. Calm now, child. My fellow Exmortis deposed me as their leader many eons ago. Wouldn't it be rather unwise to put myself in a position for the same inevitable treachery to take place? Only now do you realize I needed you to remove my enemies and clear the path of my return to rule over a world which has always been rightfully mine. And it certainly seems that you came through for me with flying colors. So, Mr. Hannay, for your role in this, I commend you. For your part in this, I applaud you. And for your help in this, I grant you a gift. A quick
was good. It was good. I like the first one more, though. I like the first one more than the second one. Alright, well, if you enjoyed this video, like it. I'll see you guys later. Till next time, think critically.